room.
We've done it all with the iPhone to the camera to the lights, everything, challenges.
We're live. So we're live now. I'm here with the Conservative Review contributor, Dr. Tom Morelli, and we're going to be talking about Trump's first month. And I know coming from the Conservative Review, you have a very unique perspective. Talking about the tweets, what do you make of how he's been covered, and then what's your take on the first month? Actually, 7 weeks in.
7 weeks already. How did that happen? Well, I think really, when you take a really big step back, what you really see is the left, the Democrats, in full chaos mode because they're desperately trying to hold on to their Democrat coalition, of which they're losing. They don't have any more policies. All they can do is fight and push back. And what we're really seeing, I guess, over the last week,
from the New York Times and other news outlets that there was information that certainly suggested that. But we've also seen, I think today was former Attorney General Loretta Lynch getting on air, encouraging people on a video hit, encouraging people to protest, to be out in the streets, and there's a rich history of protests. So what you're really seeing is full panic mode. And I think it's not only destructive actually for the Democrat Party, but it's also a very dangerous time now in the United States. I think over the weekend there were a number of pro-Trump rallies, and that some individuals actually got hurt.
We actually covered one of the marches for Trump here in Washington. It was relatively calm, but you could see this pile of people that had been apprehended, that were on the ground, and that they were clearly there to start violence. They see themselves as Antifa. They don't see themselves as traditional protesters, and it's really concerning because we see them going into town halls and really creating a lot of chaos. They're being encouraged by liberal media and liberal politicos to do so. Talk to me about the DOJ. So there's this story that's been circulating, this, I don't know if you've seen it, this walking money, where the president supposedly had this slush fund for liberal activists out of the DOJ. I'm sure you've covered this.
I've heard of that,
What is your take on this? So it seems like he's been, he's gotten away with a lot of things. If this had been a Republican president doing this, having an arm out of the DOJ, for example, giving money to March for Life, we would have a serious issue with our media.
Correct. One of the themes I think out of today's left-wing media has been how afraid people are. Well, afraid. Let's talk about back when the IRS was investigating the Tea Party groups and not being able to get the right tax status so they could challenge President Obama when he was running the second time. Talking about afraid, talk about wearing a Trump hat out in public. I mean, this is nothing more than a real effort, and to your point with respect to the DOJ, the left is very, very clever with the use of other people's monies. So what they were basically able to do is extort money from the banks and then funnel it to left-wing nonprofit groups or advocacy groups. Now, the budgets between the left-wing groups and the right-wing groups are huge in terms of dollar amounts.
Right.
So you're talking about, I don't know, potentially hundreds of millions of dollars going to these groups, which is astronomical.
It's insane because he doubled the deficit. We're now at what, 19 trillion?
Right.
I mean,
you think that money would go to pay the debt, right?
Exactly.
No, we go to fund the left groups. That's what we need to do.
We're finding out also that he there was something happening, and I really haven't done a lot of research on the story, but with Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, where he was doing something with the mortgage structuring to be able to fund Obamacare. I don't know if you've seen anything about
this.
No,
I haven't seen that one. Right.
And I know a lot of reporters they're ignoring, where and how he spent money. I guess that's the bottom line. Right. Okay, so Trump moving forward, the first 7 weeks, we've seen people like Misha Brzezinski crying on the air, calling him, and I'm paraphrasing, forgive me if she's watching, but that she's scared for the country, that he's a failure, that this has failed. Why do you think they're so viscerally attacking him? They want him to fail, obviously, but a Conservative Review, you guys are really propping him up. I know Fox is doing that. There are media outlets that are in support of him. But you see these giants that are so nasty.
Well, they're looking at the abyss. They're looking over the edge. because they realize if President Trump is successful in job creation, union workers, working with the inner cities, it's game over for decades for the Democrats and the left-wing media. Because look already, Trump got elected on Michigan, Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Wisconsin. Now, if he creates jobs, and if he does actually really work in the inner cities and creates jobs and opportunities and school choice, all the things he's talking about and actually doing, what are the Democrats going to run on?
Exactly.
Nothing. And
They're-
that's what
they
they're
love the
afraid of.
violence. We've got Loretta Lynch saying, go out and
Right.
protest. It's your right to be.
Get panicked.
It's unbelievable. And it's such a violent time. I've covered a lot of these rallies and a lot of the protest movement. They're so violent. You know, I've never had anybody scream at me or you know, use profanity in such a way, except in the middle of these protest, you know,
Right.
types of demonstrations. I want to take you really briefly. So we've talked about Loretta Lynch. You've covered Trump. Where can they catch you? And I know that people that want to follow you on Twitter, where they can find you and your work. This is Dr. Tom Borelli with Conservative Review. Do you have a Twitter account?
Yep, at Tom Borelli.
All right, I just at Tom Borelli.
At Tom Borelli, very simple.
And hopefully, when this goes up, I'll retweet it out. Any questions that you have for him? I know that he's fighting on the side of right when it comes to media and truth in media, and I know that Right Side Broadcasting Network is also trying to do the very same thing. And frankly, it's great to have members in arms who just want to bring you the truth. I'm Margaret Hell reporting. I'm going to sign off here for Right Side Broadcasting Network.